Good morning, everyone. Today, I want to talk about something that is happening in each of our lives every single day, but especially on this day, January 27, something profound. God is watching your response. Life is full of unexpected situations. People will challenge you. Opportunities will tempt you. Problems will test you. But here's the reality. It is not the problem itself that defines you. It's how you respond. Every response you give, every decision you make is being observed, not just by those around you, but by a higher presence that sees your intentions, your heart, and your choices. Think about it. When someone wrongs you, do you retaliate in anger, or do you respond with patience and wisdom? When an opportunity comes, do you seize it recklessly, or do you plan, prepare, and act responsibly? Each moment is a reflection of who you are inside. Your response matters more than you think. This is why self-awareness is so critical. Take a moment each day to ask yourself, am I reacting out of impulse or intention? Am I responding in a way that aligns with my values? These questions may seem small, but they are life-changing. Because the choices you make today, the way you respond, sets the path for your future. Let me be clear. Pausing, reflecting, and responding thoughtfully is not weakness. It is power. Patience allows you to act with wisdom. Reflection allows you to act with clarity. And clarity ensures your response carries meaning, not just reaction. Remember, your responses create ripples. What you say, how you act, even your silence, impacts those around you. Your family, friends, colleagues, they are watching. And more importantly, God is watching. This is not meant to scare you. It is meant to empower you, to remind you that every response is an opportunity to grow, to influence, and to leave a legacy of integrity. So today, on January 27, I challenge you: respond consciously. Pause before reacting. Choose integrity over convenience, patience over anger, and courage over fear. The world may not notice, but the one who truly matters is always watching. And your response has the power to shape not just your life, but the lives of others. Remember, your response is your message. Let it be one of strength, wisdom, and purpose. Every moment of our lives carries an unseen weight, a responsibility that is often overlooked. Many people live as if their actions have no consequences, as if no one is watching, and as if the small choices of daily life are insignificant. But the truth is that each action, each word spoken, each decision made leaves a mark, not just in the lives of others, but in our own character and destiny. Accountability is not always immediate or visible, but it is always present. It is the quiet force that shapes our lives, guiding us toward growth, or, if ignored, toward regret. Recognizing that every moment is accountable transforms the way we think, act, and even breathe, because nothing we do exists in isolation. Every smile, every harsh word, every gesture of kindness or impatience contributes to a pattern that defines who we are. It is not only about the big, dramatic choices. Though those are significant, it is also about the small, seemingly insignificant moments that pile up over time. Waking up late, skipping a task, ignoring someone in need, or even failing to control our temper. These are all moments where accountability quietly tests us. When we understand that every moment holds accountability, it changes how we approach life. Decisions are no longer made on impulse or convenience alone. We begin to see that our actions, even the ones we think are private, carry consequences. For example, a decision made in anger may seem justified in the heat of the moment, but later it can damage relationships, trust, and opportunities. Similarly, The decision to respond with patience and thoughtfulness can create a ripple effect of positive influence that lasts far longer than we can imagine. Accountability encourages us to pause before reacting, to think beyond the immediate satisfaction of an emotion, and to consider the long effects of our choices. It asks us to weigh not only the outcome we desire, but also the character we are building in the process. Accountability also intersects with our values and integrity. When we act as if no one is watching, we often make compromises we would not make under observation. We cut corners, avoid responsibility, or speak words we later regret. But true accountability means acting consistently, whether in public or private, because we recognize that our character is not defined by circumstances, but by our response to them. In this way, accountability is not a punishment. It is a mirror. It reflects who we really are, who we aspire to be, and where we need growth. By embracing this concept, we develop self-discipline, as we no longer rely on external monitoring to guide our behavior. The understanding that every moment matters cultivates a mindset of responsibility, where we are motivated to act rightly not because of fear of consequence, but because of a desire to align our actions with our values and principles. Moreover, accountability expands beyond personal growth. It impacts those around us. Every action we take sends ripples into our family, community, and even workplace. A moment of dishonesty can erode trust over years, while a moment of courage or kindness can inspire change in ways we might never see. Recognizing that every moment is accountable helps us understand the broader picture of life, that our existence is interconnected with the lives of others, and that every small choice contributes to a collective reality. We begin to act not just for immediate benefit or comfort, but with awareness of the larger consequences and the legacy we are creating. Living with this understanding encourages vigilance and reflection. It teaches us to examine our day-to-day actions, to question our impulses, and to refine our responses. We start to notice patterns in our behavior that either uplift or hinder us. By being conscious of accountability in every moment, we develop a deeper sense of purpose, clarity, and direction. Life stops being a series of random events and becomes a series of meaningful opportunities. Opportunities to demonstrate integrity, wisdom, and courage. Accountability is not a restriction. It is a guide that leads us toward becoming the person we are capable of being. Moment by moment. Life is full of circumstances that we cannot control. Challenges appear without warning, opportunities come with unexpected responsibilities, and setbacks often arrive when we feel least prepared. In these moments, it is easy to feel powerless, to blame our environment, or to believe that we are victims of circumstance. Yet the truth is that the circumstances themselves do not define us. What defines us is how we respond to them. This distinction is crucial because while we cannot always control what happens, we always have control over our response. The power to respond wisely transforms ordinary people into resilient individuals, capable of navigating storms with strength and clarity. It is not the situation itself, but the conscious choice in response that determines the outcome of our lives. Understanding this principle frees us from the illusion of helplessness and puts us squarely in charge of our own growth and destiny. When faced with difficulty, the natural instinct is often to react immediately, sometimes with frustration, anger, or fear. These automatic reactions, while understandable, rarely lead to constructive solutions. They may provide a temporary emotional release, but often create long-term consequences that worsen the situation. Choosing response over circumstance means stepping back and evaluating the situation with a clear mind before acting. It requires the discipline to pause, reflect, and consider the best course of action rather than being driven solely by emotion. By doing so, we reclaim our power, demonstrating that no matter how difficult or unfair a situation may appear, we have the ability to respond with integrity, wisdom, and resilience. This principle applies not only to adversity, but also to opportunity. Success can be as testing as failure because it requires thoughtful responses to new responsibilities and pressures. The way we handle achievements, recognition, and influence reveals the strength of our character. For example, being promoted at work may bring excitement and pride, but without a careful response, maintaining humility, diligence, and accountability, it can lead to arrogance or complacency. On the other hand, responding to success with gratitude, focus, and a commitment to continued growth turns achievement into a stepping stone for long-term fulfillment. In every scenario, response shapes reality far more than circumstance itself. Choosing response over circumstance also means embracing responsibility. Many people fall into the trap of blaming external factors for their unhappiness, frustration, or stagnation. They say, "If only the situation were different, I would succeed." Or, "If only others acted differently, I could be happy." While external factors may influence life, they do not control the human spirit. The ability to respond with courage, patience, and creativity in any situation is the true measure of personal power. It is in those moments of perceived limitation that our greatest growth occurs. By responding thoughtfully, we transform challenges into lessons, mistakes into wisdom, and setbacks into opportunities for resilience. Moreover, response over circumstance teaches emotional intelligence. It requires us to manage our emotions effectively, recognizing that immediate reactions are often clouded by fear or frustration. By pausing and responding deliberately, we learn to navigate conflicts, relationships, and high-pressure situations with clarity and balance. This self-control is not passive. It is an active demonstration of strength. It allows us to maintain dignity, influence outcomes positively, and create solutions even in the most challenging environments. Over time, this habit of thoughtful response strengthens our character, builds trust with others, and develops a reputation for reliability and composure. Understanding that response matters more than circumstance empowers us to live intentionally. It reminds us that life is not about avoiding difficulties, but about mastering the art of responding to them. It encourages reflection, preparation, and mindfulness in daily decisions. By prioritizing response over circumstance, we learn that we are not victims of our situations, we are architects of our own lives. Each reaction, each choice, and each decision becomes a deliberate act of shaping our character, influencing others, and determining our destiny. It is a mindset that transforms obstacles into opportunities and ordinary experiences into powerful lessons. Self-awareness is one of the most powerful tools a person can develop, yet it is often overlooked or underestimated. Many individuals go through life reacting to situations, people, and circumstances without ever pausing to reflect on their own behaviors, thoughts, and emotions. This lack of awareness keeps them trapped in cycles of repeated mistakes, unfulfilled potential, and frustrated ambitions. Self-awareness is the bridge between living unconsciously and living intentionally. It allows you to observe yourself objectively, to recognize patterns in your behavior, and to understand how your emotions and decisions influence your life. Without this understanding, growth becomes accidental or stagnant. But when you cultivate self-awareness, you gain insight into your strengths, weaknesses, triggers, and motivations, creating the foundation for meaningful change. The first step in self-awareness is recognizing your reactions to different situations. How do you respond when faced with disappointment, criticism, or unexpected challenges? Do you become defensive, anxious, or impulsive? Or do you pause, reflect, and choose a thoughtful response? These patterns are not random. They reveal underlying beliefs and habits that shape your life. By observing yourself without judgment, you can identify which behaviors serve you and which hold you back. This kind of reflection requires honesty, humility, and courage because it often uncovers uncomfortable truths about our impulses, fears, and insecurities. Yet, facing these truths is essential because growth cannot occur without acknowledgement. The more clearly you see yourself, the more control you gain over your life. Self-awareness also allows you to understand the consequences of your actions. Many people act without considering the ripple effects of their behavior, often causing unintended harm to themselves or others. By developing self-awareness, you learn to pause before acting, to weigh the potential outcomes of your decisions, and to align your actions with your values and goals. This alignment is critical because growth is not just about changing behavior. It is about ensuring that your actions consistently reflect who you aspire to become. When your responses are intentional rather than reactive, you cultivate credibility, trust, and respect in both personal and professional relationships. Another aspect of self-awareness is understanding your emotional triggers. Life will inevitably present stress, conflict, and uncertainty, but the ability to recognize what provokes negative reactions allows you to manage them effectively. For instance, if criticism makes you defensive, self-awareness gives you the chance to pause, analyze the feedback objectively, and respond constructively rather than react impulsively. Similarly, if success makes you complacent, awareness allows you to remain focused, motivated, and grounded. Emotional self-awareness is a cornerstone of personal growth because it ensures that your choices are guided by reason, wisdom, and long-term vision rather than fleeting emotions. Self-awareness also opens the door to continuous learning. When you know yourself well, you can identify areas where improvement is needed and seek opportunities to develop skills, habits, and perspectives. Growth becomes a deliberate process rather than a passive hope. For example, recognizing a tendency to procrastinate allows you to implement strategies to manage time more effectively. Understanding a pattern of negative self-talk encourages you to cultivate a mindset of positivity and resilience. In every case, self-awareness provides the roadmap for improvement, highlighting where effort is required and where natural strengths can be leveraged for success. Importantly, self-awareness strengthens your relationships. When you understand your emotions, reactions, and communication style, you are better equipped to interact with others empathetically and effectively. You become aware of how your words and actions impact those around you, which encourages kindness, patience, and understanding. Strong relationships are not built on instinct alone. They are nurtured through conscious effort, reflection, and awareness. By cultivating self-awareness, you can navigate conflicts, build trust, and foster deeper connections with family, friends, and colleagues. Self-awareness empowers you to take responsibility for your life. It reminds you that your growth, happiness, and success are not determined solely by external circumstances or the actions of others, but by your understanding of yourself and your deliberate efforts to improve. Every choice becomes an opportunity for reflection, adjustment, and progress. Over time, self-awareness transforms habits into intentional actions, mistakes into lessons, and challenges into opportunities. It creates a life guided by purpose rather than impulse, allowing you to evolve continuously into the person you are capable of becoming. Patience is often misunderstood as a passive state, a quiet waiting for life to happen. In reality, patience is an active form of strength that requires discipline, self-control, and mental clarity. It is the ability to resist impulsive reactions, to pause before responding, and to carefully consider the best course of action, even when pressure, frustration, or urgency is present. Reflection complements patience, giving depth and purpose to the waiting. Without reflection, patience can easily become complacency or procrastination. Together, patience and reflection form a powerful combination that allows individuals to navigate challenges with wisdom, make better decisions, and achieve long-term success. People who understand this principle recognize that life's most important outcomes are rarely achieved through haste or impulsive actions. Patience allows us to manage our immediate impulses and emotional reactions. Life constantly tests us with situations that provoke anger, fear, jealousy, or frustration. The natural tendency is to respond immediately, often in a way that may later bring regret. Impulsive reactions can damage relationships, tarnish reputations, and close doors that might have remained open if handled carefully. Patience, however, creates space between stimulus and response. It gives us the opportunity to analyze the situation, understand the motivations of others, and choose a response that aligns with our values and long-term goals. This pause is not weakness. It is an expression of strength, self-control, and emotional maturity. Reflection is the companion to patience. Reflection requires stepping back from the immediacy of events and evaluating them with objectivity. It allows us to examine our thoughts, emotions, and actions, to identify patterns, and to learn from past experiences. Reflection teaches us that our first reaction is not always the best reaction, and that wisdom often emerges when we consider alternatives before responding. For instance, when faced with criticism, a reflective person does not immediately defend or attack. Instead, they pause to understand the message, evaluate its merit, and respond thoughtfully. Similarly, when confronted with a problem or opportunity, reflection allows us to consider the long-term consequences of our actions rather than pursuing short-term gratification or temporary relief. Patience and reflection also strengthen resilience. Life is unpredictable, filled with setbacks, disappointments, and delays. Those who lack patience often give up prematurely, frustrated by obstacles or delayed results. Reflection, however, provides perspective. It reminds us that setbacks are temporary and that growth and success are processes rather than instant achievements. By combining patience with reflective thinking, we are better equipped to persevere, to adapt, and to continue moving forward despite difficulties. This mindset transforms challenges into learning opportunities and obstacles into stepping stones. It is the difference between someone who is defeated by adversity and someone who is strengthened by it. Moreover, patience and reflection improve decision-making. People who act impulsively often regret their choices because they fail to consider consequences or gather sufficient information. By taking the time to pause and reflect, we can make decisions based on knowledge, insight, and strategy rather than reaction. This careful approach increases the likelihood of success, builds credibility, and fosters trust in our personal and professional relationships. Leaders, for example, are often those who demonstrate the ability to remain calm under pressure, consider multiple perspectives, and make decisions that serve long-term objectives rather than short-term gains. Patience and reflection also cultivate self-awareness and emotional intelligence. By slowing down and evaluating our internal reactions, we gain insight into our fears, biases, and motivations. This awareness allows us to regulate our emotions, respond to others with empathy, and act in ways that strengthen relationships rather than strain them. Over time, this practice transforms the way we interact with the world. We become less reactive, more intentional, and increasingly capable of handling complex situations with grace and wisdom. Patience and reflection are powerful because they enable long-term vision. In a world driven by instant gratification, many people prioritize immediate results over meaningful progress. Yet, the most significant achievements in life, whether personal, professional, or spiritual, require consistent effort, thoughtful planning, and disciplined action over time. Patience ensures we remain committed to the process, while reflection allows us to adjust, learn, and improve along the way. Together, they empower us to live intentionally, respond wisely, and create outcomes that are not only successful, but also sustainable and meaningful.